Herbs versus germs, natural remedies for colds and flus and the cold and flu season, that sort of thing. So I'm going to address this from a few different standpoints, and that's one going to be, the diet as well as the lifestyle factors that we should consider in in dealing with colds, flus, whatever, COVID, all those different iterations, things that affect the immune system. We call this the cold and flu season, or a lot of people call this the cold and flu season. I only recognize four seasons: spring, summer, winter, and fall. So, but somewhere they got this cold and flu season and I think that that's problematic in and of itself because you're suggesting to people, oh, cold and flu season, cold and flu season. Why? Okay. So we can, this can be a season where we take better care of our health and then we're really conscientious about it. Everybody's not gonna get the cold and flu. So, and I'm not saying it's all psychological or all mental, but part of it is as well. You make a strong suggestion strongly, long enough, and do that from a position of power and authority. And guess what? And it's going to manifest to an extent. So certain number of people are going to get that. And if we can have psychosomatic illness, guess what? We can have psychosomatic health. So what is psychosomatic illness? It's when you believe that you have something, and people manifest all kind of symptoms. There are people who are chronically psychosomatic. Something comes up, they hear something on in the news or in the media, or read about something, and they've got it. And guess what? And their body can manifest these illnesses as well. Okay, and again, so that actually gets into the mental part of it as well, and what we believe and our faith and what we feed into. Because if we believe that it's not only more likely that it's going to happen to us, it's also more likely that we're not going to take charge or responsibility over our health and wellness. And therefore, it manifests. And when it comes to, oh, yeah, it's cold and flu season, so I got the cold and flu, as opposed to doing something proactive or saying, well, I know a lot of people are going to get colds and flus, and that's just going to happen. The sick will always be amongst us. The poor will always be amongst us. But I can be well. I want to be the exception. What do I need to do in order not to do that? Does anybody ask their doctor that when you go to doctor's office? You say, "Hey, what should I do? I know you got the flu shot. Okay, if I was not going to take the flu shot, but I want to give my body the best possible chance of resisting getting ill, what do I do?" I was sharing with a friend at the health food store yesterday about my thoughts in regards to how the our country and our healthcare system handle the situation of 2020, the COVID of 2020. And one of my concerns about that is I said, so it said that people of color and people who have what you call comorbidities, high blood pressure, um, and certain lifestyle, behavior, diabetes, and other illnesses at a higher risk of contracting COVID and much less, getting sick and even dying from it. Uh, so they acknowledged that. They said, okay, this is a high risk group. And so they suggested the vaccination. However, they did not suggest or ask people about their lifestyle factors and behaviors besides that. Okay. So no one that I've spoken to has said, doctor said, oh, okay, if you have high blood pressure, manage your blood pressure or your weight or your diabetes, or how are you eating or exercising? What's your level of stress or your sleeping habits? Okay. Okay. How much, what's going on in your life and your relationship? The doctors weren't asking about that. So therefore, a lot of people got the vaccinations. A lot of people got the jab, as they call it, but not many people got um, counseling, if anybody, in regards to what they do. And And here's the time when the world was shut down and we had everybody's attention. And many people would have been open to getting some counseling or coaching around that. Okay. So in the time that they're preparing they have jab and people are waiting or whatever. Let me ask you a few questions. People are higher risk because of X, Y, and Z, and you kind of fall into that category. So what are you doing? Are you doing anything to manage that? So then you have the benefit of, so let's say the jab works. And on the other hand, you'd have people changing dietary lifestyle behaviors, which contribute to most of those chronic illnesses that we're facing anyway. Right. So I, you know, and I don't judge people. I listen, I don't judge. I listen and don't judge people who did get the jab, where they were compelled to because of their employment circumstances or whatever, personal choice. That's your choice. I do, I am being critical of our medical system for not taking the opportunity to counsel people, coach people on things that no scientist, no sane research disagrees with. There's nothing out there that says, okay, it doesn't matter what you eat, how you sleep, um, what you do, exercise or not. There's nothing credible today. Now, a long time ago, they used to say, "Oh, smoking is good. Smoke doctors recommend it," or exercise. Oh, that's dangerous. You can be, it's harmful for your health. No, that was generations or so ago. Today, we understand the role of diet, exercise, and such. So, and I'm going to share a little bit about my background if you haven't heard it before. The when I was growing up, my mother did all types of things. We had cod liver oil, castor oil, we had uh, um, ginger ale, and all types of things. That was the go-to. That was the default treatment for us if we were down, if we had stomach aches or colds or flu or anything like that. And I believe that's part of what is really motivated me, compelled me, and supported me over these years is remembering some of that, reflecting on some of that, and then bringing that forward as well. That's not foreign to me. And I know everybody wasn't brought up that same way. And especially in generations now, most are not, these generation X's or Z's or whatever it is right now, are not brought up that way. But I was, so I had the advantage of that. So it helped me. And for a time, so when I was growing up, I had tonsillitis, and some other stuff going on. So then back then they took out your tonsils, and my took out my tonsils, my adenoids, and so I had those surgeries. But later on, I was still getting sick. And 7 years later, when that was at 10, but 17, I got really ill. I got a cold or flu or something that developed into what they call mono or infectious mononucleosis, and then rubella or germ measles. So I was sick for a solid month in the senior year of high school, and it almost caused me not to graduate. And my teachers thought I had probably senioritis or something. That's when kids they get in their senior year. It's like, okay, I'm gonna float now. I'm gonna coast now. I'm about to graduate. I don't have to work hard. But I had an illness that really kept me down for a period of time, and that was during the winter. So and then over the years, and I've had my bouts with colds and flus and things over the time, but it's gotten better and better, especially when I pay attention. The earlier you work on it, the better. So again, I'm gonna address this from a few different standpoints, and that's one. What can we do to prevent colds and flus? So what do we do to maintain the immune system? So let's say, for example, so if we believe that cold and flu season is whatever, let's say November, December to February or so, okay? Then you start in the fall. Okay, you start doing things in the fall. So spring cleanses and fall cleanses were very common back in the day. And that's also a time um, when our parents might give us, for example, now this is cod liver oil. Okay. Um, what's up with cod liver oil? High in vitamin A. It's got healthy oils in it. That's the Norwegian cod liver oil is a cold water cod. So it helps to build up the immune system. It's good for the brain, it's good for the immune system, it's good for, you know, it's good for our overall health, our central nervous system, good for our overall health. Okay. So we're building up. Now back in the day, we weren't doing this, but at times, the other thing you can do is, in terms of supplements, is take vitamin C. Now, for those people who say, okay, uh, take my vitamins, take vitamin D, take vitamin C. Actually, A, B, C, E are very good. Okay. Um, to take in terms of building, and in those things that the body does not naturally produce, or that which is not being provided by our diet. Now, if you got a perfect diet and you live in a warm part of the country, or the world, that is, then you're gonna get more vitamin D. You're gonna get more sun. Chances are you're gonna get outside and move more and do the things that help to build the immune system. But still, depending on how often you're getting colds or flus, if you need some boosters, supplementation is one way to go. Otherwise, you have to have a really clean diet, and especially in the fall and going into Thanksgiving and Christmas, people tend to eat poorly, overeat, have a lot of sugars and sweets and dairy and all types of things. We're encouraged to stay up late, not get our rest, and those things work against us. Okay, so from diet and lifestyle factors, it's avoiding the dairy products for most adults, particularly people of color, avoiding the dairy products, and then having more fresh vegetables, um, more beans. Okay, getting those into our diet as much as possible. Can't overemphasize the role of beans along with our fresh vegetables, as well as some other grains, in terms of what that does for our gut health. There are some people who will say uh, sickness begins in the colon or sickness begins in the digestive system. That is the case when it comes to colds and flus. A lot of our immune tissue, in fact, about 80% of our immune tissue, is in alignment with our digestive system. Okay. So that intelligence, that our creator endowed, with the in us, said that most of our illnesses are going to come through here and through here, through what we breathe and through what we eat. And so therefore, the digestive tract really needs to be protected with lymphatic fluid, a lymphatic system, in our immune system, part of our immune system, because we're going to put something in our mouth that we're not even going to know is this problematic for us. Something's tainted. Something's got, the water wasn't quite pure. The food wasn't the best. So the majority of our immune tissue is in alignment with our digestive system and our gut in particular. So what we put in is important, and then the condition of the gut. So when people typically take antibiotics and drugs and those things, then that destroys the gut bacteria. And it's that gut bacteria in there that that determines that what we call that gut biome, and that enables our immune system to work and function as it should, and our digestive system in terms of combating anything that would come into our bodies that would be an enemy. Okay. And then so our gut and digestive health is very important. So your beans, nuts, seeds, vegetables, whole grains, and then avoiding the junk foods, the sweets, and the meats, and the dairy, sweets, meats, dairy, those type of things. And then of course, and then of course the alcohol. Okay. Um, some people are drinking every day. Some people are smoking. We need to do more positive things than the other stuff, right? If the majority of the time we're on time, on task, on target, we're on point with our digestive system and what we put into our bodies, then that's pretty much going to compensate for, an occasional glass of wine, an occasional staying up too late, an occasional cookie or donut or whatever people want to have. But if the majority of the time, that's how people are eating. People getting up in the morning, having coffee and donut. Okay, it's coffee and donut in the morning, and then in the afternoon, then they're having going to the fast food joint, and then the evening, maybe the same thing, or having something fried, or something that has very few vegetables and not much nutrients, and really challenges the digestive system. Well, no wonder we're chronically ill. No wonder people have diabetes and obesity and insulin resistance and a host of things. Okay, so the majority of what we want to do is have things that are going to be supportive of our digestive system and our immune system, and then we can kind of build and grow from there. So if you're not doing beans, like people say, Dr. Brown, I know you don't eat me. What do you have? You don't have no chicken, you don't have no fish. Not in a long time. So where do you get your protein? Protein is in all foods. It's just there are some high protein foods and some lower protein foods, but beans is essential. It's not only good for nourishment, but it's also uh, what do you call anti-carcinogenic, which is a fancy term for saying it helps us to resist cancer. It also helps us to manage our weight and do some other things. In 2020, when things shut down, and one of my key, I'll say, um, tips for staying healthy, I prepared all my food at home myself. I used my crock pot a lot. And I usually have my beans as a base. And then I put in my vegetables. And I always, 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 99% of the time, had onions and garlic in there. And they're not just foods, they'd be considered superfoods. You cannot get too many beans. You may, and for those people concerned about gas and digestive upset, start off with smaller amounts and then build up so your digestive system gets accustomed to it. Okay. You can also take digestive enzymes and so. Um, and let's see. And then the digestive enzymes. So smaller amounts of digestive enzymes. Yeah, plant-based digestive enzymes would be helpful for a lot of people um, who are having a hard time tolerating the the beans. Okay. And then let's see. Okay. And your onions, your garlic. Yeah, and incorporating those things in there. And then I'd put my vegetables in there. So I focused on putting the majority of the good things in there. And I would also put some garlic powder, some onion powder in there too. Um, the onion powder, garlic powder can complement that. I like to utilize it in a lot of my dishes. Um, I thought I had it over. Yeah, I have here. Some of these red spices, peppers, very good. Stimulate circulation, good for the immune system, beneficial for so many things. Right? So that's definitely a go-to product. So the majority of what you eat, if that's plant-based and nourishing, and you really focus on that, and that's the majority of what you get into your diet, that's going to be very helpful. And then in terms of building your resistance, improving the health of your digestive system, helping you to maintain your weight, and a whole host of other things. So your diabetes, high blood pressure, and all that. So here's what happened for me in 2020, is that I was moving every day. Okay. Now for me, moving is going to be different than other people. Some people are going to say, well, I walk. Fine. Walking, getting some exercise, doing something that increases your heart rate, increases your respiration, doing some aerobic activity, and you can, skip rope, hula hoop. There's a lot of things you can do. For me, it's running. Okay. And I'm not saying, and I know running isn't for everybody. Everybody don't have the joints or desire or whatever for that. But for me, it's running. Okay. I got on a Belle Isle and I was running I was running it's at one point 7 days a week. Okay. But exercise, and that's not to say that you need to run 6 miles 7 days a week or anything like that, or even run. But moving your body, intentionally moving your body more, to the extent that you perspire. Okay. When your body temperature elevates, guess what? That's good for the immune system. Okay. Your heart pumps blood, but your movement pumps your lymphatic system, your immune system, and cause that fluid and cause that to do what it needs to do. Can't overemphasize the importance of that. Herbs are important, foods are important, exercise is essential. So talked a bit about diet, and then some of these things. In fact, when you look at some of the literature, it'll list onions and garlic as herbs. They're considered herbs. They're the foods that are medicinal, and your cayenne, um, and such as well. Okay. Now, some other things that are helpful as well, and some great go-tos. One, and I don't have the elderberry syrup, but elderberry syrup, very good is good for the immune system. It's particularly good for viruses, and it tastes good. And that's one of the concerns that people have. Oh, you want me to take cod liver oil or something, and it doesn't taste good. So we need to get past some of the taste and know that if you have an herb or there's herbal formula or something, and you don't like the taste of it, that's going to be temporary. But death is permanent. Okay. And sometimes illnesses can be prolonged. I was talking to somebody recently, and they've been ill for what? It's been at least a couple of weeks. Okay, where these things are lingering. Then you got to wonder and say, okay, somebody got a respiratory virus. What's going on there? If you're sick, if your illness is getting more frequent or in longer duration, your immune system is suffering, and you're not doing something right. You need to do something to balance that out. Otherwise, um, uh, there can come a time in your life, and if you're not elderly, that's one of the things that take out the elderly. They'll get a cold or something like that, and they end up pneumonia. Like, such and such was 90, but they got a respiratory infection or something like that, and they never recovered from it. Build your immune system now. Monitor how often you get ill and how long that is. And the first goal is not necessarily to say, okay, I went through the winter and I didn't get a cold or flu at all. Okay, and if you've been getting it every year, it may be that the symptoms are milder, that the duration is shorter, um, or the frequency. If you used to get 2 or 3 colds, it may be that you didn't get 2 or 3 this winter. You got one, and then eventually it could be that you don't get any at all. Okay, and that's a possibility. But I would just say first monitor it, assess that, and then go from there. Echinacea is a good herb and something you want to have in your herbal medicine chest. Echinacea. you know. The what else? Oh, ginger. Okay, this kind of gets into food and medicine. Now, years ago, my mother used to give us ginger ale. Okay, and why did she give us ginger ale? Because this is kind of an old time remedy that's been passed along for, for generations. Having in the Caribbean, in Africa, is ginger beer, and somebody adopted something or founded people like this ginger drink and started making ginger ale. But the key component and the important part of this, the medicinal part of this, is the ginger itself. Okay, you can see it. It's a well, this is what ginger looks like in its natural state. And so some people, they'll take the skin off of it. There's certain things, some things you can do with the skin, but otherwise, slicing that up, chewing it, ginger chews, ginger drinks. Again, a ginger beer is not an alcoholic beverage. It's a beverages made from ginger. Ginger in conjunction with other herbs and make very good drinks. It's good for, guess what? Your digestive system. It's good for your immune system. It's good for circulation. It's good for a number of things. So, ginger, very good. Now, here's a bit of a recipe that would be ginger tea with lemon and honey. So if you got a sore throat, you can use, again, your ginger, slice it up, grind it up. Some people will juice it, okay? But otherwise, you need to crush it. Because it's dense and it's hard like this, you need to break it down so you can get into your body. And again, and sometimes and sometimes I juice it. I'll run it through. I've got juicers, yeah, more than one, and I will take some of that ginger juice, and then you have that along with some honey, some lemon, and you can even put a little garlic in there as well. So soothing throats, fighting inflammation, boosting your immune system. A go-to for me, absolutely and forever and a day, is oil of oregano. Okay, is oil of oregano. Now, some people will find this in the grocery store, and they'll think that they're getting something medicinal. It's not. This is for flavor. This you put on your pizza or in your Italian dishes or something like that. That is not this. You see this oil of oregano or oregano. This completely different species, different product altogether. This is therapeutic. This is not. Okay. It's not nearly the same. But this, I'm not without this. I've got some at home. I got some even in my car. If I feel something coming on, I would take this few drops. Sometimes I swish it around in my mouth. One way I know it's working. If I really get a burn, I know there was something going on, something starting. Okay. I'll take some in my mouth and I'll breathe. It's got a kick. So get used to that. And can you chase it with lemon or something else? Yeah. Can you mix it with some other things in herbs? Yeah. But I tell you, I'm never without. I don't think I've been without this for more than 20 years, or perhaps close to 25 or so years. Long time. It's a great standby. Viruses, bacteria, a lot of things you can use and put in this spray. You can spray it around. So those people, so I know some people they want to use bleach and some other thing. Guess what? Those things can be really problematic. This knocks out a lot of things. This has been tested and tests better than many broad spectrum antibiotics. Okay. Um, and that means very powerful antibiotics, but it's a natural antibiotic. And I'll tell you, and all oil of oreganos are not the same. So hit me up if you want more information on that. Eucalyptus is very good to use as well. Um, and eucalyptus is an essential oil, so it's still in the category of herbs. You can put it into the air. In fact, when you're cooking your onions, your garlic, your strong aromatic herbs, and that gets into the air, that's cleansing for the air and cleansing for the environment as well. Those people who are concerned about environmental bacteria, viruses, and those types of things. So it not only smells good, but it's very good for you. And then let's see, team hot toddy. Okay. I shared now. Here's something that are, you know what? I'm gonna just toss a little something in. This is Shilajit, Shilajit. Very powerful. You can, add some of this. This is something you can take on a regular, small amounts, over time is very good. And I'm gonna toss in one other thing here, and this is chaga. If you study anything about chaga mushroom, the herb chaga is very good, considered to be a longevity herb. So it's good for the immune system, is considered good for longevity too. So here, hot toddy. Okay, here's a hot toddy remedy, remedy or recipe. And I may even record this. So if you all are interested in that, then you're gonna hit me up on my email or something in regards to my hot toddy formula. So what let's see what uh our my mother used to do years ago um is give us this formula when we got sick. So it was basically, yeah, hot water, um, the juice of about half a lemon, okay, some honey, about a teaspoon of honey. And I'll say get you can get raw, you can get unpasteurized, get the best quality honey that you can get. And then now, and this is for actually they did it when we were children, but a little whiskey. I think it was about an ounce or something like that of yeah, about an ounce or so of whiskey. Now, that's you and again, nothing against people who, for religious purposes or from past history, don't use alcohol at all. This is a therapeutic application of the alcohol. What it does when you add the whiskey is it raises the body temperature. So it's a therapeutic application, and normally we get really wrapped up. And with our flannel pajamas, and then we get really bundled up and get underneath the covers. And oftentimes, after we sweated that out overnight, then our cold broke by the morning. Okay. So now, for those people who may not want to do that, here's a couple of other things that you could do that would kind of be I would say, suitable substitute to that. And that's one, you can add your ginger, much less the juice of the ginger, and adding cayenne pepper will also produce heat in the body as well, get things moving, improve the circulation, improve the absorption of the nutrients that you're looking for from as from your toddy. Okay, so your water, it can be, I mean, ginger is helpful, lemon, quite astringent, nourishing, high in vitamin C, good liver food, all that. Honey, now, those people who don't want to avoid honey, don't do animal products or derivatives or anything. Maple syrup will do as well, and preferable to sugar. And then cayenne pepper, whiskey or brandy is the recipe for the hot toddy. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. So that is the majority of what I was going to share with you as well. So here I'm going to kind of do a summary on this as well. And that's one. Before cold, ideally before cold and flu season, to work on your immune system and building up your immune system ahead of time. That means monitoring how much you eat, monitoring your weight, monitoring your intake, particularly from refined carbohydrates. Get high up on your fresh fruits and vegetables. Get on, have those grains, do your beans, improve your overall health. Monitor your sleeping, get some exercise. And now for those people who are, some people just they want to get on a 10-day, or they want to get on a 30-day fast or cleanse or something like that. Okay, for a jump start, it's not what you do some of the time, it's what you do the majority of the time. If you go on a 30-day cleanse once a year out of 12 months, what are you doing the other 11 months? So it's what you do the majority of the time, not just what you do some of the time, that makes the greatest impact in terms of your health. Especially if you want to maintain, especially if you want to get that blood sugar, your weight, your blood pressure, whatever, in control, and have that last over a period of time, over much less over years. Right. So one, it's your food. Use your foods as a base. Okay. There's some herbalists, and some people will say, oh, just take this herb for this, that, and other thing. Guess what? Herbs are the medicines. Some medicines you don't take all the time. The herbs and the foods that you can take all the time are your garlic, your onions. You can take ginger. You can have cayenne in your foods. There's some things you can take all the time, every day, no problem. Your echinacea, even your oil of oregano, you wouldn't necessarily take that all the time, every day. Okay. Those things that would be more like antibiotics, natural antibiotics. You take your echinacea at the first sign of a cold or flu. You can take your oil of oregano the first sign. Some people will take about a drop, on a regular or for a period of time, but not forever in a day. Right. And okay. That's the majority of it. I got some colloidal silver and some, on another call, I'll do some things about, what we can do to cleanse our mouth, to reduce the amount of bacteria that's in our mouth. Well, oftentimes ailments start in the mouth, and digestion really starts here. It starts starting in our stomachs. And if you enjoyed this, then here's a couple of things I want you to do. One, like, support, follow, whatever, if you're not following me on social media. Two, put those stars and those other things on there that create income, that generate income, to support this work. Okay. This is my life's work. You're getting a combination of over 40 years of what I've studied and done over the years. I've invested a lot in this, and I'd like for you to invest in this. If you think that if this is valuable to you, I'd like you to invest in this as well, and share this. And share this with other people. Spread the word. Share this, so that other people can get benefit from it as well. I am on YouTube as well as some social media. Okay. And then if you are interested in classes, workshops, seminars, etc., one, I've got some things I'm doing for that'll be targeted for the churches. But otherwise, if you're interested in learning about herbs, and I teach I'm not just going to say, here's the herb and here's the ailment. I talk about the body systems, how these herbs work with the body systems, how some things are different, what various people should be taking as well. So we talk about the dosage of it, its historical use, and finding a program or protocol that works for you. Okay, so you can reach us on holistictraininginstitute.com, www.holistictraininginstitute.com, and I've got a community on School, SKOOL, which is the Holistic Wellness Collective, and that'll be in the notes or somewhere in here as well. All right. So I want to thank all of you who join us on this call. You can reach out to me through naturopathic training at naturopathic training at gmail.com. That's naturopathic training, training at gmail.com. That's an email that'll get to me as well. And you want to support so we can, um, I'll say, preserve, protect, promote, and pass along our healing heritage. The natural products industry and natural products in this way of living is going to be going on for a long time, okay, generations to come. This is something we can an opportunity for us to I'll say promote generational health and generational wealth. All right. So stay tuned, keep supporting, keep looking in.